Okay, I'm back again with another video, and in today's video I'm gonna cover a lot of topics. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into the video. The first topic that I'm gonna cover is the whole Tyreek Hill situation where he got arrested. Detained. My apologies. If you haven't watched the video, I would highly recommend that you go on the various platforms, primarily YouTube, to watch the video, because the Miami Dade Police released almost 108, I think, minutes of footage, bodycam footage of the officers that detained Tyreek Hill. And this whole situation divided a lot of people, because a lot of people are saying the situation would have been solved if Tyreek reacted or said things differently and so on. But overall, before the whole body cam video came out, I was like, yo, the police were manhandling him. There was no need for that. He's Tyreek Hill. It's not like an infamous robber, murderer, terrorist, or something of that grave, or that he's not a serious criminal. He's not a criminal at all for him to be pulled out of the car like that, to be put on the ground, knee in his back, and put in handcuffs. But after seeing the body cam footage, I kind of saw a little bit. I got to understand a little bit why first of all, I just want to say the officer that pulled Tyreek Hill and was pulling him down to the curb when he was standing and telling him that he recently got surgery to his knee. That officer his actions are not indicative of the whole Miami Dade Police because that situation, regardless of what Tyreek Hill was doing, that excessive amount of force was not required. So the whole division comes from that. People are like, no, it's police brutality, and people are saying, no, but Tyreek Hill did this. If you watch the whole body cam footage, you see that Tyreek Hill kind of like snaps at the officers and gives them an attitude. When they were telling him to roll down the window, he was like, yeah, don't knock on my window like that, and so on. So the situation just escalated from that, and eventually it led to what it led. But the actions taken by the officers, particularly that one officer, which I presume is the one that was put on administrative duties, was not right. But the key factor from here is that when the police officer pulls you over, you have to comply with everything he says, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure you are able to fight and defend yourself, as opposed to letting other people come in and say nobody, because that situation could have turned very badly. Because Tyreek Hill came out and said, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? But the fact of the matter is, if he wasn't Tyreek Hill, probably something bad would have happened, because you can never pull back your window once a police officer pulls you over. Once you give him your details, your license, registration, your insurance papers or whatever, you can't pull back your windows, because you're not giving him a line of sight for him to see exactly what you're doing. Make sure, so he can make sure you're not reaching for a weapon, you're not gonna step on the gas and speed off, and so on. And his windows were tinted. So I understand why the officer was telling him, the one that pulled him over initially was telling him to roll back his window, and so on. But the fact of the matter is, the excessive force was not, in that particular, it was not necessary. And the whole situation is dividing people, because some people feel like he deserved it, which he didn't. Some people feel like that's just an everyday of being a black man in America. But so that I would just advise everybody to go out there and look at the video for themselves and make their own conclusions. I like the take Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp had. I watched all their takes. The first one was on First Take. The second one was on Stephen A.'s channel, and then the third one was on Shannon Sharp's channel, where the one that he shares with Ocho, where he was just giving brief through or like a step-to-step guide or how to interact with officers. He comes to your window, yes sir, or she comes to your window, yes ma'am. You give him your license, registration, and he was saying he always made sure that he got the officer to his car, back to his car or motorcycle, and he checked out everything, and he was on his way. You are not gonna give him any attitude, because he knows how hard it is being a police officer. The amount of brutality they have to go through every day, whether it's from shootings, chasing down criminals, investigating, going to crime scenes, high-speed chase, and so that whole situation, I personally think that whole situation would have been tempered down a little bit if the officer who pulled Tyreek Hill out of the car was not there. I feel like the first officer who pulled him over would have handled the situation, and they would have talked it over. Tyreek Hill would have gotten out of the car and they would have a discussion about it. But Tyreek Hill also reacted in a way which kind of aggravated the police officers to feel like, oh yeah, you're acting like that? You think because you're driving an expensive car, we're gonna show you, So they pulled him out, but the whole incident could have been averted if all the parties involved just handled it better. And that's my take on it. Okay. The second story is a lot of people are upset, and a lot of musicians are also upset that Lil Wayne was snubbed from performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, which will be in February. A lot of people expected him to get that gig because it's gonna be the Super Bowl final is gonna be held in New Orleans. So a lot of people expected him to host or to perform at the halftime show, but that's not gonna happen. Kendrick Lamar is the one who's expected to go perform. So a lot of people were like, how are you gonna pass up Lil Wayne? He's a legend of the game. No offense to Kendrick Lamar, but Lil Wayne is a legend of the game. He's already expressed that he wants to, he had an aspiration to perform at the game. So the fact that he was passed up on it, a lot of people were angry about it, and they were like, how are you gonna pass up a legend of the game, a legend who has been doing a lot for the game? He has put on a lot of people, and a lot of people were just upset. And especially the upsetting thing a lot of people were kind of hinting at was the fact that Rockefeller seemed to have had a major role in selecting who was going to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. So a lot of people felt like Jay-Z should have chose Lil Wayne to go perform, and yeah, but it's not happening. Kendrick Lamar is the one who's slated to go perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, the final. So we'll see how that goes. And okay, the third story is the presidential debate, the United States presidential debate, which was between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. I watched a few clips. I still have to watch the full debate from start to beginning. I mean, my apologies, from start to end. Once I watch the whole debate, I'll come with a reaction, and also I want to react to the Daily Show's host who reacted to it. It was kind of funny. That video is for later. But based on the clips I watched, I think both candidates didn't really do a good job of convincing voters as to why they should be voted in as the next president of the United States. I feel like Donald Trump allowed Kamala Harris to bait him into a corner where he was constantly trying to replying to whatever statements she made, as opposed to stating out, these are my policies, this is what I intend to do, this is what I've done in the past, this is my track record, and this is how I'm planning to improve on that. I feel like he was just trying to argue with her and trying to make himself look good, as opposed to actually just laying down his policies and be like, look, this is what I'm gonna do for the American people. this is what I've done in the past, this is what I'm looking to build on, and that's it. I feel, and this is my personal feeling, I feel like he should not have gotten in the whole thing. I saw him go on a lot of random tangents where he was like, yeah, people are eating cats, and just, it was a lot of the statements he made were not necessary. He was just supposed to be like, my policies are what I'm gonna do, what I've done, and that's it. And I feel like Kamala Harris also didn't really lay down the foundation for herself. This is my personal view, because she's been a vice president for almost 4 years now, and based on my research, she hasn't really done anything which would say, yeah, she has been doing a lot for the country, so it's only fair for her, or it makes sense for her to be a presidential candidate, and she's gonna build on what she's done already as a vice president and carry it on to being a president, and it's all gonna work out. So I feel like, if I have to be honest, the debate was just a flop. I feel like they should have another debate, and both of them must just lay out, policy. Just go policy for policy. This is what I'm gonna do. I don't want to see these things of saying, no, people are falling asleep at his rally, people are leaving early, and then Donald Trump is trying to jump in. No, what? It doesn't feel professional. And a president is someone who holds a lot of power, someone who's gonna determine people's future, determine people's income, determine people's livelihood, determine people's freedom. And so to see those candidates just kind of like not really take, from my opinion, it just felt like the situation wasn't professional. It felt like they were just trying to take jabs at each other and trying to make each other look bad, as opposed to highlighting what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it, and when they expect the fruits of their labor to pay off for everybody.